let's get on to the main event of this segment, which I know lots of folks here are excited for. Can we go ahead and throw to Naomi Clark? And so I'm just going to whip through a bio here
Naomi,
so
you're
we
on.
can get to as much of the good stuff of Cosmology of Kyoto as we can. How you doing, Naomi?
Pretty good. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. And I'm so glad to be here on ROMchip.
Amazing. Thank you. So Naomi Clark is a game designer, educator, and scholar who's been making games since 1999. She's currently chair of the NYU Game Center. Across her game dev lifetime, she has contributed to over 36 titles in varied roles from game designer to writer and producer. Her experience ranges from games for well-known companies like Lego and Atari to casual and mobile, as well as smaller scale indie and developmental work. Naomi is also a scholar and a critic. She's co-authored a game design vocabulary, which is a textbook that provides a framework for game analysis and creation, and has contributed collections like Queer Game Studies, Video Games for Humans, and Honey and Hot Wax. Outside of games, Naomi is also apparently a founding member of the Sylvia Rivera Law Project Collective, which is definitely the funnest fact about you that I did not know before writing this.
Super fun.
Naomi, thanks for joining us, and tell us just a little bit about, I have discovered through you that this game has something of a kind of cult following or kind of fandom. So what's up with Cosmology at Kyoto?
Yeah, so this is, I think, a very unusual game. People have written about it over the years because it's such an interesting, like, out-of-time game in some ways. It's from 1993. And it's a Japanese game, first released here in the US on Mac around then, which is when I played it. I played the Mac release when it came out. I don't even remember how I stumbled across it, but I was a teenager at the time, to date myself. And it's been described in more recent decades as an open world game, which I think is close to being accurate. It's not a very large world. You're roaming around a recreation of the 10th century capital of Japan, Heian-era, which is today known as Kyoto. That's the title, Cosmology of Kyoto. And I think of this as sort of a collection of ancient Japanese creepypasta.
I really want to get out of the way and let you fire this thing up,
Yeah, maybe we should just take a look, because it's notorious as being the only game that Roger Ebert liked, the film critic. That he was blown away by this game, and in writing about it for Wired many, many years ago, when it came out, actually, he was just like, he couldn't even wrap his head around the game. He was like, felt it was impossibly rich, that he could not absorb it all.
Incredible.
And it was like, yeah.
All right, let's get me off screen and get you fired up.
All right, so just so everyone knows, I am staring at this game full screen because it's hard to get it run fast enough otherwise. So I can't see anything else that's going on. I'm like trying to pay attention to chat too, if there's anybody in chat. So feel free to say hi, and we'll see if that works. All right, I'm starting this game up. Imagine we're back in the 90s. I'm running this in DOSBox, which has some quirks, including that I can't see what I'm typing. But I can, there's an avatar creator, which is, I feel like was not super common at the time for it to get into this level of detail. But it's funny, you know what? I'm just going to go with this default avatar. This looks fine to me for a lady. And there are 3 bodies, which are just these 3 bodies. I'm just going to go with the middle one for now. The funny thing is that this body selection is extremely ephemeral because you die a lot in this game. I will try and show you what I mean as soon as possible. Hopefully, if the frame rate on this thing speeds up. Because every time you die, you go to another realm of existence, often hell, which is my personal favorite. And you're reincarnated after that, conveniently in video game fashion, like right in front of your corpse. Here we go with the opening scroll. Yeah, so I was wrong. I guess it's the turn of the 9th century. It's about to be the 9th century in old Kyoto. And this is not that long after the founding of Kyoto. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason this is saying 794 is that's when Heian-era was founded. And it was set up as a new capital in this sort of geomantic way, like aligned on the north, south, east, west axis, according to the magnetic compass at least, and in a very strict grid, as many of the very old cities were in Japan at that time. And that was in part because I think there was either the brother or the brother-in-law of the emperor had died, and he was terrified that the vengeful spirit of this relative was going to haunt the new capital. So there were a lot of court officials back in those days who were what we call in Japanese onmyoji. They were sort of yin-yang mystical exorcists and sort of a priest class to deal with all of the supernatural defenses of the city. Yeah, and so now we're moving forward in time to the 900s, and it is the 10th century. And this is important because by the time of this game, in the 900s, 10th century AD, everything is kind of getting run down in Kyoto. Ooh, I have to apologize for the frame rate here. This is a lot worse than I was expecting when I was running tests for this game. But hopefully we'll get past. This is kind of the FMV part of the game. I will note, yeah, this game is notoriously difficult to get running. There were, for much of its history, it was very hard to find a working copy of this game. Back almost 20 years ago, the game critic Jen Frank managed to get help in distributing an archive that had like a running copy of this game. And then more recently, the game restoration website, the Collection Chamber, created a version of DOSBox that's tuned especially to run this game. And that's what I'm running today, is the Collection Chamber version. But it's been tricky to get this up and running and working. There are a lot of janky things that no longer work as they did in 1993. Okay, so we're getting a yin-yang. This, of course, is a symbol that's most famously associated with China. But in this period, in the Heian period, the idea of the yin and the yang and elemental forces was introduced in Japan. So this is what I think of as the period when a lot of manga and anime tropes first appeared in 10th century Japan. If you are a fan of current day manga anime franchises like Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, or Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a lot of curses and demons, and the way those things appear and kind of intermingle with everyday life is really the template for that is laid down in the folklore of this era. Now what we're seeing are the 4 elemental beasts of the 4 directions, another idea from China. So we saw Genbu, the turtle dragon of the north. I always forget the name of the blue dragon of the east. This is Byakko, my personal favorite, the white tiger of the west. And then finally, the Suzaku, the golden bird of the south. These 4 animals have also appeared in a ton of video games, including like Digimon, Pokemon. I think there's some Genshin Impact now, etc. But this is maybe one of the first games to like have these figures have a prominent role. Although here in this game, they really mostly serve just to introduce the game. Let's see. Wow, this draw rate is so slow that it's making me a little worried. But what we're seeing here in the middle, this red grid that's appearing, is the city of Kyoto. And if it looks very sort of orderly and geometric, that's because it is. This big line in the center is the sort of the Suzaku Way, going from the south to the north, and that large empty rectangle in the middle is the imperial palace, which back in this era was where the Emperor of Japan ruled from. Yeah, and so if you go to modern Kyoto today, you can still see this grid in effect. It's kind of the northern part of the city. Okay, yeah, and so we see Byakko. Let's see, the one I couldn't remember was Seiryu, the blue dragon, the guardian of the east. So the layout of this grid and a bunch of sort of areas surrounding the city were kind of associated with these four beasts back in the 10th century. Okay, let's see if I can actually get to playing the game. Now we're transitioning from the grid to a kind of 3D view of the city. This, I will say, is kind of the most graphically elaborate part of the game. I know it probably doesn't look like too much by modern day standards, but I think it's the most intensive drawing because it's transitioning between images relatively quickly. I will have to see whether we get better performance during the actual game. There are some action sequences, which I'll have to see if I can actually run if the game refuses to draw any faster than this. Okay, let's see. So this is now a kind of view from above and the south of the city, showing some of the major buildings. You might have heard of the one that's closest to the bottom of the screen here. This little rectangle sticking up from the long purple line is the main south gate of Kyoto. Was like the main entrance, also known as the Rashomon, which, if you're a film buff or like Kurosawa, is a famous name that you might have heard before. Okay, yeah, so there it is, or Rajomon is closer to the actual pronunciation of the time. Okay, let's see if I can jump into the actual game. And I might have somehow lost sound on this, which would be too bad, but we'll see. We're almost to the moment of truth where I will figure out whether it's even possible to play this game on stream. Oh wait, then we got some extremely howly sound back. All right, this is the main interface of the game. I think I would liken this to an adventure game, right? Of the 90s, it's the era, past the point and click games of the 80s, but still inheriting a lot from that that mode. So like I can point and click at things here in the top, like this mirror here. Whenever you are reincarnated in this game, the first thing you do is you get a mirror so you can see that I indeed look like a naked person with the middling sized body. You always get a mirror back. There's creepy laughing. This symbol at the top of the screen here means north, so I'm facing north. And I don't have a map yet. Okay, so I'm gonna look around, see if I can look in other directions. Okay, yeah, so here's a demon. This is like a very simple kind of like three-eyed Oni goblin. And here at the beginning of the game, I don't have to do much other than click on it in order to get my first, like, hopefully I can get this handy inventory item. Okay, and I've gotten a, what is this? What do they call this thing? Oh, they call it an amulet. Yeah, this is like a wooden charm that, would have been used by some types of exorcists. These boxes in the lower right and lower left corner are going to come important in a second if I can turn around and look to the south. Okay, and here's a corpse. The first of many, many corpses in this game. And if I look at this corpse, yeah, first I can steal his clothes. Now, and then the interface of this game is interestingly railroaded. Right now I can't click on anything except this word mirror in the bottom, because the game really wants me to look and see how I appear to others right now. Let's see if I can click on it. Yeah, so I'm going to click on the mirror and see that, yeah, now I've got clothes on. And in fact, I'm in drag and will be in drag for the rest of this game, because no matter what gender you just choose to start as, or what gender you reincarnate of, which is never clear when you reincarnate whether you're male or female, even though it gives you that choice at the beginning. I'm now kind of dressed as a typical middle class, like Kyoto civilian who's not a beggar, not a soldier, just like, you know, probably like a merchant class person. There's also this bag of money. This box in the lower right is my money, and I don't think I have any right now. And this box in the lower left, this is explained if you actually have the paper manual, which I have my own somewhere. I've got 3 bad karma, basically. And I think, this is my guess, I think if I pick up this bag, I will get some money. Yeah, so I got money. And now I have, yeah, so I've got like 6 coins, 6 zenny, the currency of the time. But yeah, look, I got a bunch of bad karma. So stealing from dead people, although you're kind of more or less forced to do it, I guess I didn't have to take the money. I shouldn't really blame the game for that. If you take the dead people's money, you get bad karma. And that's important for what I really want to get to before we run out of time. Let's see, which is... Okay, so here we are at the Rashomon, Akira Kurosawa's favorite big gate, where creepy things were known to happen, including, you know, murder mysteries with different perspectives. So if I try to go in the main door, hopefully we'll get... Yeah, so like a creepy voice tells me to go away every time I look over there. Let's see. So I have to find another way in. There's a white fox that way. Ooh, and a mysterious figure over here. I'm gonna talk to this guy. I'm gonna keep talking to him. Okay, so it turns out this belongs to him. This is one of these, like, I don't know. I think of this as an old school adventure game thing, like, oh, you just happen to find something. Oh yeah, you know, this game has a lot of timers. If I didn't give it back soon enough. Yeah, what was that? Right, so this is, yeah. So yeah, this is Watanabe no Tsuna, who is like a folkloric figure in Japan from this era. That it's like if you met Davy Crockett, and Davy Crockett was a demon slayer. Okay. Ooh. There's something there. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. So this game, interestingly enough, for the time, had text entry. So it's like partially a parser game and partially a point and click game. So I thought I should have just gotten a text entry there. The lag on this that I'm experiencing right now may have either crashed the game or precluded the text entry somehow. But yeah, there's like a demonic presence. Watanabe no Tsuna. Oh, okay, he's asking me now. Okay, let's see. Ooh, these animated sequences are happening really slow. This is, if you get a chance to play this game, and I encourage you, if you can run DOSBox, to like get it from Collection Chamber and try it. It's really actually kind of nice, the way they do these sequences. These animations go by much more quickly if you're not being lagged. Here comes this demon with 2 faces. Watanabe no Tsuna was known for a number of famous duels against demons. And the demons back in these days, there wasn't some sort of really easily established cosmology of like, okay, well, demons come from hell and they're like summoned by necromancers or you know, demonologists from to enter this world. demons were just kind of these mysterious, hostile, bad forces that appeared in the natural world. So like that particular demon that Watanabe no Tsuna fights, like if you look in the folklore, it's like, well, that demon was born in this area. He was a lot of trouble when he was young. His family repudiated him, and he killed them. So it's almost like like he's a person, like a bandit of some kind. And the line between those two things is a little blurry, which, again, if you like Demon Slayer, is kind of the vibe of that game. That some like bad people can become demons. All right, here's the white fox. I'm gonna follow the white fox in here and see if I can get killed somewhere soon. Let's see. Okay, now I'm inside the city, and the city is mostly empty and incredibly run down. Like, let's see if I can find some good sites. There's another dead body over here. I think I'm just going to go straight for the dead bodies and loot them. If we had time, I'd show you a great scene with a dog eating a corpse who then gets attacked by another dog. Okay, I've got some more money. That's handy because every time I steal from dead people, it also makes me a little bit more likely to go to hell, which is where I personally really want to go to. Ooh, I think I actually hit some kind of... Oh, I hit a world boundary there, which are not popular in open world games these days. But there are limits to how much you can explore. I would say this game has, maybe like 60 to 80 locations that you can wander around, which, there were like interactive fiction games that had that many or more. This is an Exorcist's setup, which I'm not going to mess with right now. Let me see if I can find. So a lot of the city is abandoned. There are tons of beggars. There are, dogs eating corpses, like I was saying. And this is one of the reasons, supposedly, that the game was not popular in Japan. Because for Japan, the city of Kyoto is like considered a cultural jewel, right? Like one of the most important landmarks in the country. Famously never bombed during World War II because nobody wanted to destroy it. But in this period of time, it was the way it's portrayed in the 10th century. It's really messed up. Some parts of the city are sort of blocked off by processions of nobles. Let me see if I can figure out how to proceed from here. Ooh. Uh-oh, I'm getting so much lag now that I might be bumping into the limits of this game. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting... okay, yeah, I'm blocked. I'm blocked here by some soldiers because there's an ambassador from Pohai. Pohai was a kingdom north of the Korean kingdom of Silla at this time. So it's sort of like where modern day Manchuria is. There's two old guys here who I could talk to if you really want to see some like hokey old accents. But I think instead I'm going to try and go... Whoop. Are we... So people took offense to... Oh, there's some kids playing here. Okay, oh, and I've made it to the market area. This is actually a later part of the game. There's a very complicated market where you can haggle with people, pawn stuff, and that's kind of like where I would go into the second chapter of the game. And these guys are all creepy beggars. Let me see if in the time we have left, I might not be able to... I might not be able to get myself killed, but I can at least have a creepy interaction with a beggar.
No. なんぞ恵んでくれんか。
Let's see, I should have some money for you. Yeah, so the inventory interactions here all involve you clicking a text representation of the object and then kind of like, you know, pulling a coin out with like 3 clicks. Oh yeah, so
東の市の貸し上げは悪どやや。わしも博打なんぞに手出さなんだらあんなやつに。
Yeah, the money lender will definitely kill you if you don't pay her back.
誰ぞに殺されたらええんじゃ。死んで地獄へ落ちた方が世間のためじゃ。
But I love the illustration style of this game. It's just kind of, I guess, most reminiscent of like a Japanese eroguro kind of comic, the sort of grotesque body horror illustrations that became notorious in you know, in the kind of 80s and 90s and on into the 2000s. All of the people and bodies in this game are kind of misshapen. So it's no wonder that people who love Kyoto. Oh, here we go. I think I can get killed here. Okay, so here's an Oni, and I think I can get. Oh, you know what? I thought I had a sword. I guess I'm just dead. Okay. So now before we wrap up in the last few minutes, I'm really hopeful that we can get hell to load. So there are 6 different realms you can go to after you die. If you have no sin, like if you have no bad karma, when you, like for instance, if I had never picked up any money off of dead people, you can end up going to heaven. Heaven, it turns out, is a pretty nice place. There's like lots of same-sex nude bathing up in heaven, as well as just like, you know, ladies in like gossamer robes floating around. And you reincarnate there as a god. But it turns out that being a god is also impermanent. You're still sort of stuck on the wheel of transmigration. And so eventually your godly status kind of withers and you become a corpse, and then you're reincarnated as a human. You can also be reincarnated as an animal, in which case you become one of the dogs running around the city eating corpses and then are attacked by a larger dog and killed. And then, you know, you can become a hungry ghost, which means, you know, you end up finding like parts of another hungry ghost, and you try to eat that ghost's brain, and then some other hungry ghosts eat you. But then by far the most vivid and visceral is hell, which I'm hoping will load. It's now we're really seeing me like randomly draw some like red bloody like cute square sprites onto the screen one at a time to represent complete dissolution of your immortal form. Okay. The demon got us. Oops, it's happening again. While we're waiting for this, I will mention that this reference word up in the upper left corner opens up an encyclopedia where all of the places and people and mythological things and sort of occult folklore and some history and, you know, books and scholars from this era, like everything that appears in this game is sort of described in detail in an encyclopedia manner, right? Complete with illustrations. So, you know, way before Assassin's Creed was trying to win educational game awards by putting stuff about, you know, like ancient Egypt into its exploration mode, this game was already trying to do that with Kyoto, like decades earlier. And I don't know, I was a teenager And I guess I was pretty interested in this stuff because I grew up a part of my childhood in Japan. My family's from Japan, and so this game was kind of a significant connection for me to like a weird, creepy part of my heritage that like my mom or my grandma didn't like want to talk about too much, but my grandmother did see me playing this game at one point and was very curious, in part because there's lots of like Pure Land Sutra, like Mahayana Buddhism in it. Like those are sort of like the good guys in this game. And she was like, "Oh yes, you should play this game. It's important. You can learn a lot from it." I was like, "Okay, I just want to go to hell." We'll see. Are we almost out of time? I realize we're. Oops, I'm afraid we're in a loop now, you guys. I think we're not going to get to hell. We're in the hell of endlessly being killed by a giant demon claw over and over again. Yeah. Really, what I think might be happening here is that there's actually the sort of animation plays 3 times in slightly different ways to give you the feeling of being torn apart. But something about the way this is running in DOSBox on my machine right now is making it super slow. So I just have to tell you guys, like, if you get a chance, please play this game, steal money from dead people, and go to hell, because then you will experience one of, like, I think about 20 different randomly selected tortures that are reserved for like bad karma spirits who go to hell, including having molten metal poured into the naked ass of your hell corpse and out your mouth, being spitted and like roasted on a spit, being impaled on a mountain of needles, being like burnt and like watching your flesh kind of like get crispy and red and then crumble into ash. It's incredibly gory. It's like, yeah, it's a level of disturbing gore that I don't think you see in most games that are more specifically oriented on violence. So check it out. It's a valuable part of game history, and isn't that why we're here, celebrating and supporting ROMchip? I think I can wrap it up there.
I think, guys, can you throw me in? All right, Naomi. I wish we'd been able to have you for the full hour, because that was what a rich text is what,
Yeah.
I want to say.
It's a lot. It's a really lot, and that's why Roger even was overwhelmed by it.
I was going to say, do we know like how far he got in this game? Like, do we have any sense of what that play experience was?
There is an old article that that he wrote about, talked about a little bit about this game on Wired, and he just said that he, like you, he said he found it incredibly rich, almost overwhelming, that he could wander around. He felt like he could wander around it for days, right? And I don't think he had ever experienced anything quite like this. He talked about playing Myst, and that he just got kind of stuck playing Myst, and then he sort of bounced off of it, found it like to be not that fun.
So interesting.
But this game.
So interesting that the Wired got him to do a game review like that. That's yeah. I want to go dig that up now. Naomi, that was awesome. Thank you so much. We are now at $4,528.77. We are 65% of the way to our tier 1 $7,000 goal. Naomi, thank you. I will see you in the not too distant future.
Yes.
All right, bye. Now, don't go anywhere, folks. We've got Patrick Lemieux coming up with an original modular synth set in a moment. But for folks who are just joining, I'm Lane Nooney. I'm the managing editor of ROMchip, a journal of game histories. And we are an open access hybrid audience online venue for the publication of game history. You can find the full journal at www.romchip.org. But what that means about us is that first we develop, solicit, edit, publish, work across a range of formats, from traditional academic articles to oral histories, short essays, and translations about subjects from video games to board games, analog games, sports, and play. Second, we have no paywall, no advertising, no logins, no predatory publishing model. You don't have to pay a thing to read the research published in ROMchip. And last, we are a hybrid audience, meaning that we are constructing a big tent around game history. We believe that you shouldn't need a PhD to read or write for this journal. And so our current tier 1 fundraising goal of $7,000, we are inching our way up there. We are currently again at 65%, but we don't want to just hit that goal. We'd love to exceed it. We have an 8.5K goal by Naomi. We have a 10K goal, which would be super ambitious. And if we get there, I get hit in the face with a pie. So that if you're just like holding on $3,000 and you want to give that to us, then now's a great time. But that's my spiel.